Okay, so hello, CT111. It's I don't know, 10 something in the morning, and we're on the man gun job, and in front of us is Jay Allen. So Jay Allen works for construction plumbing and has for how long, Jay?
35 years.
35 years, and hopefully we're all getting this 4x4 or 5x5 sound-wise. So 35 years as construction plumbing. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you got into it and what you did and what you do and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, my name's Jay Allen. I work for Construction Plumbing. We've been in business since 1983, and I've been with the company since 1986. And from 1978 to 1985, I was in the solar energy business here in Santa Barbara. And at the end of 1985, the Reagan administration had cut the federal tax credits and state tax credits for solar energy, and the business all across the United States just completely fell apart. And so I began looking for a job in 1986, and I found a ad in the local newspaper here in Santa Barbara to apply for a job as a plumber. And so I did, and I was hired. And for the first 12 years with construction plumbing, I worked as a plumber out in the field. For the last 23 years, I have been production manager. And so that's where I'm at. It's hard to believe I'm even saying that I've been for 35 years.
I remember when you were a plumber in the field.
A long time.
Remember that our yard on Quarantina?
Yeah, playing basketball.
Playing basketball and shooting cars with water balloons.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So
you worked as a plumber for 12 years.
That's right.
And basically learned the trade on the job.
That's right.
You didn't come there as a plumber.
No, on the job training. I learned from guys who had been in the company for a while who taught me.
So you went to work as basically, I'm going to assume here that you went to work as a laborer, plumber's laborer and helper.
Well, actually I started doing copper right away because I had been soldering copper for 8 years in the solar business. So Peter knew that I could solder copper after he looked at my work for a couple days. So all I did for the first 2 or 3 years was solder copper, and I had the greenest hands. I could never get the flux off of my hands.
So you were the guy.
I was the copper guy for about 3 years.
Which I want to circle back to this when we start looking at the plumbing, but I want to talk a little bit about soldering copper versus Propex. Not Propex, but what's the crimper?
It is Propex. We don't use Propex. I have no.
And you have no Propex tools?
I have no Propex tools. I don't. Well, I'll take that back. We use PEX tubing for drinking water supply only.
It's not the Propex. Actually, that's the wrong. That's not it. It's the one that instead of soldering copper,
right, you crimp it together.
Squeeze it on. Is that called Propex?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Pro something. I can't believe. That's another thing that goes real.
Yeah, it's a material that we don't use.
Something. So you guys do not.
We do not use it. No, we do not. We solder all our copper.
Okay. So, because we're going to talk about soldered copper and this thing it's not Propex, the tool. God damn it.
Yeah.
Ishmael will know. If he's here, is he here?
I don't know.
He might be gone, but John will know. Anyway, we'll talk about that other way of putting copper pipes together. But in the meantime, so you started with some knowledge, so you weren't right at the bottom.
No.
And then as you went, you learned the plumbing trade from the guys that knew the plumbing trade that you
That's
worked
right.
with.
That's right.
Which is how a lot of us, which is pretty much most of how I learned the trade. And then at what point did you become kind of more than a plumber? Which is what you're not really a plumber now. Your background in plumbing, you know a lot about plumbing, and I'm sure you've learned as you went.
Right.
And doing jobs, because stuff always comes up. You're just constantly learning. I mean, nobody ever knows. This is my opinion. Nobody ever knows it all.
No, not at all. There's always stuff to learn.
What was the turning point for you to get out of the field and into scheduling and stuff?
Well, it was really Peter, the owner of the company. Peter had got to the point where he was trying to do everything himself, and as the company grew, he needed someone else to help with scheduling. And I was the guy that he chose out of the 20-some guys we had.
Well, you were the guy with the personality and the intelligence, in my opinion, to do it, because this is a job you do owner interface a lot.
Right.
Right. As a matter of fact, you're the face of the company these days. Peter's been
right.
hiding up in his place.
Right.
And And then you have to be able to work with employees, and you have to have the respect of the employees. And it's nice to, that you are a plumber and not just some guy that
Right.
got a construction management degree out of Caltech,
Right.
Cal Poly. And then, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad way to go. It's just that
Yeah.
there's nothing that replaces in the field experience.
That's right. That's right. And I think I have the right temperament to deal with all the employees and the clients.
So tell us about that. Tell us about that. What kinds of things like today? What's it like today?
Well, what's it like today is I field a tremendous amount of phone calls, and now with cell phones, it's so easy to reach people. With text messaging and email as another form of communication, I have to look at all three things all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And all on your phone.
All on my phone. Yeah.
Text.
Especially now with COVID, I don't go into the office anymore, so I'm doing pretty much everything on my phone or on my computer at home.
Nobody goes. Somebody goes there.
Lisa goes to answers phones, but she's the only one in there except for Mike.
And what about Bob? You guys still got Bob?
Bob, yeah, Bob is working from home as well.
This is a beautiful stone.
Yeah.
And so today, what's just kind of describe your day
Well,
up to now, and then what you anticipate doing later.
well, the phone started ringing about 6:45.
Mhm.
I got up about 6:15 and sent some material lists to our materials manager in the shop, Mike, so he could get some material to the job sites for a couple of projects today.
Let's just stop you for just a second,
Yeah.
because the infrastructure of construction plumbing is they have a physical plant, building, and actually you guys own the whole lot with the house in front. On Yonner Alley, it's residential. Is it zoned in R2 or something like that?
It's
Anyway, they have a two-story shop with a yard and offices above and inside storage below, and where you keep parts and
That's right.
pipes and all that stuff. And what kinds of stuff do you stock?
We stock everything that we use. It's not something that we've always done, but for the last 2 years we have.
Buy in quantity and stock?
We buy in quantity and we stock it, and it's much more efficient for us to have the plumbers make lists for material the day before, or I make material lists a couple days before, and we have it delivered to the plumber on the job, so that he's not standing in line at the supply house waiting for parts.
Your guy make a list of what they need. It goes to the shop. The guy pulls it from your stock
And delivers it to the job.
Wow, that's great. And
Yeah.
anything you don't have, you can have Spartan deliver, or does he go get that?
Yeah, well, he'll pick up some things from Smarten, or sometimes we have job site deliveries. If it's a big job, we usually have it delivered directly from our supplier.
So that's pretty darn efficient, and it also allows you guys to make what the material houses can make, mark up on their stuff.
That's
You
right.
Buy in quantity and get wholesale. It's a great way to go.
That's
But
right.
you've also got to have the work.
Yes.
You got to have the work to justify that kind of expense and be able to pull that stuff. So keep going. What about your day?
What about my day? So it started off doing that. I went out to Hope Ranch at about 7:15 and laid out a couple plumbers on a new job that we're doing. I answered phone calls basically after that until I got here.
Let's stop you. When you say laid out a couple of plumbers, could you just explain what that means?
Yeah, on this particular job, it was just they were doing some demolition on the outside. They're demoing the whole back patio, which was an outdoor kitchen and a fire pit. And the new owners didn't like the design, so they completely were going to rip it out. We had to safe everything off. We turned the gas off at the gas meters, and then we capped off the line in the ground, so that when they come out with a backhoe and start ripping everything apart, we don't tear the gas and the water lines out of the ground.
And if you
do any damage.
they're not going to be spewing water and gas.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
I mean, it's one thing ripping the lines out when they're dead. It's another
Yeah.
thing having live gas.
Right.
in
So we
the
call that safing off a job
Yeah.
before it
Yeah,
starts.
no, and you needed to do it for me here when we did demo here.
That's
And
right.
then, okay, so you laid that job out for that particular job, and then what happened?
Then I was on the phone answering more calls about, work in progress on other projects that we're working on.
And then you came here.
And then I came here.
And then what are you doing from here? What, we get
From here at 12 o'clock, I have a meeting on a new job walk with Peter, the owner of the company, to do some more layout.
so a brand new job.
A brand new job.
Job that you guys have.
Yeah.
And they're going to start laying. And at what state is that job in now?
That job is, it's actually another remodel. We did the house about 2-3 years ago. The owner sold it, some new owners came in, and now they're doing a remodel on part of the house that was never remodeled before.
It's not as, is it as extensive as this?
Yeah, I'd say probably about the same.
Huh.
Yeah, they're adding a couple bathrooms and a kitchen in a downstairs area.
Slab on grade?
It's slab on grade.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So this job is slab on grade, and you
Right.
guys got me safed off here at one point, and then at one point when we were still in the dirt and still digging the foundation, before we could even start tying steel and really getting the forms together, we needed you guys out to
Right.
get the plumbing stubs to do the stub out.
Right.
For the waste, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Waste and get a vent stack going. Could you explain that a little bit? Is that how that process works?
Well, we start off with a set of plans, and we have to determine where all the exterior and interior walls are. We have to figure out where finished floor height is.
Hopefully with some help.
From someone running the job.
Super or general.
Some sort of a super. One of the most important things we have to do, though, is find out where the existing sewer is, and we have to find out the depth of that, so that we make sure that when we're laying out our new sewer lines, that we are going to have the proper height and fall to reach the existing lateral.
Fall. So you guys all remember that, right? 1/4 inch a foot.
Yeah.
Shit rolls down. Excrement rolls downhill.
2%.
2%
2% grade.
2% grade.
Yeah.
But really, that's the ideal, and more is okay. Right?
A little more is okay. You try not to get much more than that, because you don't want the water to pass up the solids.
Oh.
You want it to kind of float along.
You know, it's so great to be as old as I am and to get a little nugget like that
Yeah.
for something that is germane to everyone that's listening. Basically, everybody on the planet's life is, what happens when they flush that toilet.
That's right.
And at 1/4 inch to a foot, I thought, well, yeah, more fall would be better because it'd be fall, it'd be more gravity, push, more everything. But yeah, then the water gets ahead of the solids, and it's
Right.
not good.
And then you end up with backups.
So much sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can actually go less than 1/4 inch at some point, right? Isn't it? Can't you go
Well,
to an eighth
if you can go 1/8 inch per foot if you absolutely have to, but then you have to increase the pipe size by one size.
Ah. So if you only got an 1/8 to a foot at a 4-inch pipe, you got to go to a 5-inch pipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It rarely happens. Yeah. It rarely happens, but it does happen.
Yeah, and then that's in a sanitary waste, right?
That's right.
And so something like area drainage, if you can get a 1/16 of a foot, you get whatever you can get. In
Right.
other words, you have some elevation givens, and if you can get a 1/16 of a foot, then water will go that way.
That's right.
So okay, so keep going. I forget where I stopped you at.
Well,
You're leaving here, and you're going to meet Peter. You're going to do a job walk on a remodel, which is almost as extensive as this. 2 bathrooms,
Right.
as I remember. It's slab on grade.
Slab on grade with a second story above.
Excuse me 1 second. Oops.
Sure.
Hey, I'm right in the middle of interviewing Jay. Is this quick? Oh, that's sweet of you. I love you too, and I hope you have a good day too. Okay, call me again when you can. Okay. Okay. Bye. Sorry, and I didn't want to stop it. I could have stopped it, but it's kind of start and stop on the video, so I want to get
It's all right.
this as
You can
continuous as
cut
I
it out of
can.
there.
So see, all better.
Yeah. All right. Just like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, class. I'll preface that when I show this video of what we're talking about. But in the meantime, slab on grade versus raised foundation. Can we talk a little bit about that? Well, first of all, what's the difference between slab on grade and a raised foundation, as far as you guys go?
Well, a slab on grade is concrete, so we have to be really accurate,
Yeah,
or else
slop.
we're in there with a jackhammer later moving pipes.
Yep.
And so it's very important that we have all of our walls laid out properly so that we know exactly where our piping is.
Super important.
Very
because
important.
they stub up through the slab before it's poured, and we have to have that inspected. We have to have that waste pipe inspected, we have to have the vent inspected, and the vent has to top off. It has to go up, what, 8 feet, 10 feet?
8 feet.
8 feet. It has to go up 8 feet, and it has to be filled with water, and it has to stay that way. The inspector has to see the water flow out of the pipe, and then,
Right.
and then it's considered topped out, and then you can sign off that rough,
Right.
and then you can pour, and then hopefully your layout guys have put that vent in the wall. And if it's not on the wall, then yeah, you got to break it. Or instead of a 2x4 wall, maybe you go, well, can we make it a 2x6 wall?
If you have
How
room.
about a 2x8 wall?
Every now and then, we get lucky.
So, but then on a raised floor, when would the job need you guys to stub on a raised floor?
Well, it used to be that we would want to get our piping in a raised floor before the floor was sheeted.
Right.
So that we didn't have to
You
crawl it.
want to get at least a sleeve of pipes through the forms
Yes.
to get out to sewer.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
so you could probably get your stubs through the forms, and then once they pour, then you can plumb all your waste and vents based on